Fragrances I love that I probably won't be getting second bottles of. Now, this video probably could have been 2 hours long if I really showcased every single bottle that I have, but for the most part, you know how it is when you grow a collection. There's definitely a lot of them in the middle that you don't really use and you don't really care for, even though you kind of like them. So I wanted to highlight the ones that I really did love, and you probably have seen me talk about a lot on this channel, and I'll explain why they're on this list as the video goes on. So the first one is Spicebomb Extreme by Viktor and Rolf, and this is a fantastic winter fragrance. It smells like tobacco, vanilla, not cumin on the top. I think it's caraway. There's a spice on the top of this fragrance. Of course, it's called Spicebomb Extreme, and this is so lovely. Now, I really enjoy wearing this scent, but to be real with you, I don't really use that many sweet fragrances. So to me, I think that this is something that will probably last me for the rest of my life, or I don't even mind if there was somebody that smelled this in my, no. I was gonna say if somebody smelled this in my collection and really wanted it, perhaps, but then I thought about my girlfriend and she loves this scent on me. So there's just some things you keep around because, you know, your partner really enjoys it on you, and this is just one of those fragrances. I myself on a daily basis do not reach for this. Like I've said in so many videos, I live where it's warm pretty much year round. I mean, we're in our winter right now and the sun is out. So a lot of these sweet scents I can't really use that often. If I live somewhere cooler, then maybe these wouldn't be on the list. But even on the colder days here, I've been reaching for the fresh fragrances because that's just more of my jam. Now, again, I'll put the discount link for all these fragrances in the description box below and in the comment section in case you want to try them. It is with global shipping, and that is an affiliate link in case you want to support the channel. But of course, buy where you're comfortable, okay? But Spicebomb Extreme is a fantastic scent, but for me, I'm just not using it enough to think about restocking on it even in the next couple months, the next couple years. Okay, the next one is Carlisle by Parfums de Marly. Now, Carlisle was my tried and true sweet scent. And when I really think about it, you know how I make my top 5 videos at the end of every single month and I tell you what scents I use the most and which ones, those are basically my favorites for the month, right? So I think Carlisle was there for a couple of months, and I was really excited to use this in the winter time. And I did use it a pretty good amount, right? But honestly, it wasn't, I don't know, this wasn't in my top 5 as much as I thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? I would catch myself looking at it, but I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to smell like that today. You know, it's just not something that is a daily wear type of fragrance for me. In fact, this scent is something that I would put in, like, my girlfriend has like little sample vials, right? And this is like one of her favorite, probably like a top 2, top 3 scent on me. So I would give her a little bit of that in case, you know, she wanted to spray it on something to think of me or anything like that. And this is, again, kind of like Spicebomb Extreme, something that I keep around because I know she loves it. And don't get me wrong, I still find this scent to be very sexy. But in terms of, oh, like I'm using Carlisle so much to a point that I need to make sure that I can restock on a bottle of it in a couple years, a couple months, it's not really at that level. In fact, this bottle is still fairly full because, again, this isn't something that you even overspray in the first place because it's so intense. You know, so that's actually a positive thing about these sweet, long-lasting fragrances is that they will last you a long time in your collection as well because they don't need that many sprays to perform really well. So I am glad that I have Carlisle, and it is a unique scent till this day. I love it so much, but it's just not something on my radar right now. Who knows? Maybe if it gets way colder or something like that, I'll use more of this, but I just don't really see that happening realistically. Okay, the next one, Dolce Gabbana Light Blue Intense. This one is actually the one that pulls on my heartstrings the most out of everything in this video that I'm showcasing to you because this is a fresh and clean fragrance, and you could see that there is a significant amount of juice that has been used from this scent, and it's something that really got me started with the fresh and clean fragrances, and it was like my trendsetter, you know, my very first kind of exposure to it when I got interested in this game. But there have been other fresh and clean scents that I do pull for that have kind of overshadowed this scent. But don't get me wrong, even though I have a good amount of fresh and clean scents, I still find myself time after time going back to this bottle and just spraying it on myself and smelling it again, because there's a lot of nostalgia associated with this fragrance and my fragrance journey, you know? So Light Blue Intense, as for right now, I don't really use it as much to, like, when this bottle finishes, I mean, I'm gonna be sad about it and feel some type of way, right? But I'm not gonna think in my head, okay, it's time to restock. Like, I need to make sure I have another one of these. You know, I think I could do without it, which is kind of heartbreaking to say, honestly, because I do love Light Blue Intense. Now, this is a lemon apple musk fragrance, very unisex. This is the women's version. So much better than the men's. I say this in every single video. If you are to get Light Blue Intense, ignore the men's. Even if you're a guy, even if you're super masculine presenting, blah, 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 the women's is going to be sexier on you. I'm just going to tell you straight up as it is. The men's is fresh and clean. The women's is fresh, clean, and sexy. So it's your choice on what you want with that. Okay. The next, damn, this is another nostalgic one. This is La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL. And this was my signature scent for a very long time. This was kind of around the time that I had Light Blue Intense. Actually, it came a couple months before then. And let me smell this again. Oh, man. Sorry, kind of congested a little bit. But La Nuit de l'Homme is an intimate fragrance. People call it a date night scent. You can call it whatever, right? I've worn this in warm weather. I've worn it in cold weather. It's performed fantastic in both, in different ways. But to me, this is my very first bottle of it. And as you could see, it's been a couple years. And there is a pretty good dent in it, but it's not that significant. You know, there are other fragrances in my collection, and I made a video recently, if you probably watched that one, you know what I'm talking about the fragrances in my collection that have the biggest dents in the bottles. And this was not on the list. So you know what I'm talking about. I think this one was on it when I say like the usability of a fragrance, right? So don't get me wrong. I did use this a lot in the beginning, but there's just been other things that have taken over. And this again is nice to kind of throw on just to kind of go back down memory lane for myself. But I am not reaching for this nearly as much, where I already know in my head, yeah, I'm gonna get a second bottle of this. It's not like how I feel about a couple other fragrances. Okay, next. Wow. Naxos by Xerjoff. And the reason Naxos is on this list is for the same reason as Carlisle. Not so much that my girlfriend loves it so much on me, but it just performs so well with one spray that it'll last me the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? There's not, like, I can go forever with this bottle of Naxos. I am not going to use it that much because when it comes to really strong, sweet scents, I don't like to overspray it. Sometimes even 3 sprays is too much for me, especially when it's this loud that it fills the entire room. So even doing 1 will literally last me more than a couple days on clothes, right? But then I don't always want to smell like Naxos. This is not my signature scent. Again, when it's been colder, I use this a lot, but it's still, I mean, I use it a lot in terms, if I were to compare it with other sweet scents in my collection, but I still use more fresh fragrances when it's been cooler because, yeah, it might be gloomy for the first half of the day, but then all of a sudden the clouds disappear and the sun's out and I'm at the beach, you know, and something like Naxos just is not, it's not something I want to smell like all day. This is more of a nighttime fragrance, like a clubbing scent, something if you're going to just be out all night, if you want to go on dates, if you live where it's cold, if it's snowing, if it's raining, you get those 4 seasons, then yeah, you can probably maximize something like Naxos. But for me, I can't really justify it. Again, it's not something that I think of and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get another bottle of that. And lastly, dang, this one's kind of heartbreaking. Cedrat Rosé by Mancera. Now, this is a fresh and clean fragrance. And again, this is something, what I love about Cedrat Rosé is that it will perform really well when it's hot, and then it performs really well when it's cold. But I have to make a quick asterisk about it. I have the twist cap version, okay? There's another version of it that is a magnetic cap. Now, I've gotten a few comments from people saying, oh, the magnetic cap has trash performance. But lately, I've also been getting comments from people that are like, I don't know what they're talking about. This shit performs really well. And no, they're not talking about the intense flanker. They're just talking about the newer formulation of Cedroplase. So as everything, like with everything, people are going to get strong performance and there's other people that are going to get weak performance. You know, I always suggest to moisturizing your skin. If you're applying your fragrances on dry skin, then of course they're not going to last. But anyways, Cedroplase is a beast mode fresh fragrance that will seriously last me all day. With a couple sprays, I will still smell this on myself, and then I get addicted to the scent where I wear it nonstop for the next 4 days to a week. You know, it just becomes my favorite thing. But so I kind of have to, the hold that this fragrance has on me is still very relevant till this day. But again, I got this bottle, I think for $60. 60, yeah, I think it's like $60, and this is an 100 ml right here. And I've had it for a couple years now, and it still doesn't, I mean, there's a little bit of usage with the juice, but it's not, I mean, compare it to something like this, right? It's not that big. And again, I don't take this as a bad thing about this fragrance being in this video, but again, I think that it kind of has to show for its performance as well that I don't need a lot of sprays of it for me to enjoy the fragrance and for it to last on me. You know, and some people, when they look at bottle dents in collections, right? The first thing that comes to mind is, oh, that's because they use it the most. And then when you see something that isn't as used like this, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, they don't really use that fragrance as much. And that's true to an extent. But also, when you have something that performs really well and you're somebody that is scent sensitive, like if strong scents just, like sometimes you have to spray at a further distance, I totally get it. But for me, yeah, this is a strong scent, but I just don't use it as often. And looking at the juice right now, is this something that I'm like, oh yes, Cedroplase is going to be an all-star in my collection. I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. Probably not. Again, there's other fresh fragrances that y'all see me talk about, that you've seen the bottle dents in them, that I really, really love. And I use those on a daily basis. And you know what's interesting is that people DM me or they message me on all these different platforms in my YouTube comments, and they say, isn't it hard to pick what your scent of the day is when you have a lot of options? How do you not get confused? And even other content creators have told me the same thing. They're like, oh gosh, I struggle on what to wear. Like, it's the problem with having a lot of options. But to keep it real with you, it's not hard at all. It really isn't. Because I don't know if you're like me, that in your collection, no matter how big or small it is, you have your favorites. There are ones that you constantly go back to that you yourself love, regardless of what anybody else thinks. And because you love using those scents, it makes it super easy to pick your scent of the day. Now, for me, when I am trying other fragrances, like new scents to test for you guys, to share, like, and make full reviews of, yeah, I'll make those fragrances my scent of the day. And if I really love them, then you probably will see them in a lot of videos that I make. And you know what? Hold on. Just a quick backtrack on that. There are fragrances that I don't love as much that I'll still recommend because it might fit better with somebody else's personality, that it's just not mine, like with Side Effect by Inicio, for example, right? I say so much that I don't love that fragrance, but I will recommend it because I know a majority of people out there will. So it's not just my taste that you're getting in this channel. When I'm making those top 10 or those recommendation videos, it's just, for the most part, whatever the topic is, I'll center it around that, even though the scents there might not be my personal favorites. I know that they do well in those type of situations. But yeah, these, I don't know, I was looking at these scents, I was thinking about it, and I could pretty much do without these. And I mean, I don't want to say that, Gabrielle, if you're watching, ignore what I just said. I still love Carlisle, and I still love these scents, but again, not really using them as often, and it's not hard for me to pick my scent of the day at all, or what to wear. Even when I'm going on vacation, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling on what to pick, because I know what my if you were to ask me, if you met me and you're like, give me your top 5 favorite fragrances in your collection, and then everything else had to be thrown away, I would easily be able to tell you what those are. It's not an issue for me whatsoever, and I can use those consistently until maybe a new scent that I try comes along and then overshadows something. But for the most part, I know which ones are my favorites, and those are not going away anytime soon, and I will be restocking on those bottles. As for these, not so much. Okay, again, I'll put a discount link for these fragrances in the description box below and in the comment section in case you want to try them, get samples of them with global shipping, and let me know if you have any fragrances you feel the same way about in your collection that you love, but you just probably aren't going to use them that much to be constantly rebuying them. Okay, anyways, have a great day. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye.